What's good people? It's your main man, Joe Fleetwood, the hustler, and welcome to the Joe Fleetwood podcast. As always, if it's the first time tuning in, make sure you go to www.joefleetwood.net. When you get there, you can find all of my social media links. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, while you're over there, check out the Joe Fleetwood shop where you can find things like this Joe Fleetwood signature hat, this Drip Life hoodie that I'm wearing, and also you can find a link to the energy drinks of my sponsor, which is Dubby Energy Drink, the gender-free energy drink. Now, this is a brand new drink that we have. It's called the Mango Orange Cream. Last time I checked, it was sold out. It's pretty good. I'm actually going to drink this one here on air while I'm actually doing this podcast because I'm thirsty and I don't have anything to drink. Now, when you get there, if you do want to try this and check out when we have it back in stock, click the link. You can get 10% off. All you got to do is use promo code Joe Fleetwood. Now, today's topic, I was actually supposed to do this podcast last week. However, I am currently in school. I don't know what made me decide to go back to school to finish up my degree, but I decided to anyway. I only have 11 courses. Funny thing about it is I actually have enough credits for a bachelor degree, but however, these schools don't want to just give you something for free. So they make you take a certain amount of courses with them in order to give you your degree. But truth be told, I have like 160 something credit hours from various schools during my time in the military, but no one will just give you a a degree just because you show up and take one or two classes with them. So the minimum is, I think, 10, but for the degree that I'm getting, it requires me to take 11. So I've been knee deep in school, so haven't put out a podcast at all last week. So I'm just now getting back to it. But with no further to do, as I like to say, man, let's get right into it. Now, one of my favorite shows is Power. And there has been a shakeup in the Power universe. And if you're not tracking, of course, Omari Hardwick, who plays the character Ghost, actually kind of set the stage for this disagreement between him and 50 Cent to take off. If you did not see the interview, he was actually on the Pivot, and RC asked him a question regarding, you know, his role as Ghost, and it kind of got into the realm of, okay, well, what are you being paid? And Omari saying, hey, I've never been paid what I feel I'm worth or my value. So if you didn't see it, I'm going to share a clip of it. So let's take a look at it.
How much do you think I made a week? An episode? At least 150. You got it right. First time I've ever disclosed.
How that make you feel?
Look. Hey, man.
So I don't want to. I only shared just that little snippet, right? I didn't go into the entire interview because it would just take way too long to address it. But in that, he disclosed that he made 150. You can go to the Pivot and watch that entire interview. That was just a little snippet to point out a specific point in time in that interview where Omari was talking about the amount of money that he made. Now, of course, in true form, 50 had to respond. And we're going to take a look at that clip also, but I do want to say this. When you go back and check out that, and I'll put everything into context because I only showed a short clip of Omari in that statement of him saying, how much do you think I got paid? He was like 150. I never disclosed that, but he went on to talk about how, how he embodied the character of Ghost, and just a lot of stuff talking about him being paid in his career. So I think Omari is a great actor, and we're going to get into some of his accolades, and I'll give you my thoughts on him in general. So we'll hop right into the 50 Cent portion of where he was on the Breakfast Club, because he was on the Breakfast Club last week, and that's actually when I probably should have dropped this, but it's a good thing that I waited, because the for those of you who don't know who Natari Naughton is she plays Tasha, because later on she was interviewed by TMZ. She had some thoughts to share on that. And then after that, she was on The Breakfast Club and she shared, basically she doubled down on what she said about Ghost Power and 50. So let's hop into it and let's see exactly what 50 had to say regarding Omari's statement. And this clip will be a little bit longer. Not that I'm gaslighting Omari in this situation, but the reason I'm kind of extending the play on 50, because I need people to understand what it is he's actually saying and take it into context. Because what happens is a lot of these social media profiles, what they do is they only put a certain portion in there and they don't give you the entire context. So of course it painted 50 in the light that the media would normally paint him in, as the bad guy or the bully. However, when you put it into context, it makes a lot more sense in what he was saying.
When you hear Omari doing interviews, Omari Hardwick, do you feel like he's ungrateful for some of the moves and things that you did for him?
I think he leaves people feeling like he said it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? Look, also point out the fact that when you don't have money, that I'll give you the money. Like give him $50,000-$60,000 and say, yo, nah, just get back to me when you're ready, like until you're comfortable and settled in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we can win consecutive championships if the players are hungry. Mm-hmm. The team is hurting like that, if that's the case. So then you go on, they don't change financial thresholds of how people are being paid on these projects until you get to season 3. Mm-hmm. We get to season 3, it changed so he can handle it after that. Then he didn't need the loans anymore at that point. But I did remember I was talking about somebody else owed me money and he just jumped out there
but
and said
but you said that was strategic because it kept his music going and he was able to pay you back. But the Omari Hardwick said this is not.
No, but Omari said, yeah, Fifth gave me money. I didn't even say Omari's name. I was talking about Rotimi.
Oh, he thought you was talking about him.
And he said that I gave him the money. See, Rotimi, I had did a deal with him and I spent money on this project. Then he wanted to do something that was independent. Afrobeats wasn't as popular as it is now, and he was going in a different tone of the music. And I'm like, I don't know about that right now, like the way. And I'm like, you know what? You could do what you want to do. Just you could pay me back in the royalties off of the mechanicals, off of the music that you release moving forward, and you won't even feel it because it doesn't cost your marketing moving forward. Everything that you do moving forward is not going to be a part of that. It's just later I'll get the money back, and he recouped it. He did it. He took care of it. Right? But at that point, I said, yo, you got to give me my money back, boy. And the people go, oh shit, he owed Fifth money. You know what I mean? And it stopped immediately. And it drew so much attention to it that the record stayed number 1 more days than it would have been number 1 on the chart.
Right.
And he knows that, so he'll go, yo, he's a marketing genius, bro, because I didn't know. He said, he was calling me like, yo, what's up with you and Fifth? And I'm just going, you need to make some noise around the record to have people feel like there's something about who you are that is interesting. In Power, why are we not excited about the new projects?
What new project?
His new projects.
You got new. I didn't know.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. If there was noise.
So right there, I think that's a perfect place to stop it. that is where we actually get the full context of everything that 50 was trying to say, right? Because when it came to the clickbait, the only thing it said was, I think Omari overvalues himself. Now, it didn't stop right there. And like I said, Natari Naughton had, she jumped in, and I want to say a TMZ actually caught up to her, asked her a couple of questions, asked her what she thought, when it came to the 50 Cent and Omari Hardwick situation, right? And of course, in true fashion, and I get her because she is, a part of the show, and she has ties to both, right? So of course she wants to see them come back together and do their thing, right? So this is what she had to say regarding the whole, Omari statement and then 50's reply.
I throw it out there. 50 Cent is trending again. And, 50 was like, listen, me and Omari are not on good terms. And Omari is, quite frankly, overvaluing himself. We've had the conversation.
I just heard that. That's insane to me. Omari is literally the epitome of power. Omari Hardwick started this amazing, like the journey. And I don't know all of what happened with 50 and O, but I'll say this. I love Omari Hardwick. He's an amazingly talented human. And he's also a good person. But there would be no power without Ghost, right? So,
right.
I hope that they can find love and peace between each other, because much love to 50 and to O.
Now, in a later interview, she was on The Breakfast Club, and she doubled down on what she said. And I'll paraphrase that, but you can also go check it out on The Breakfast Club as well, and you can get the full context, because that's what's missing in a lot of these social media posts is the full context of what somebody is actually saying. Now, when she got asked about her interview on TMZ on The Breakfast Club, she said, hey, when it comes to valuing myself or anyone's value as an actor, and I'm paraphrasing, again, is that you set your value. Isn't that what Taraji P. Henson was fighting for when she was talking about the things that she was going through? So here's what I'm gonna do. First, let's go ahead and address that situation since it's in the forefront, and we're talking about value and the comparison to Taraji P. Henson and the current situation of what 50 said about Omar. Now, when it comes to Taraji, she did Benjamin Button. We're talking about she has been in Hollywood for quite some time, and she's been in some of the biggest motion pictures made in Hollywood. So she has the accolades, she has the platform, and she has the recognition. And even with being in Benjamin Button, Hidden Figures, and all those other big movies that she's played in, it took her a minute in order to get to that. And that wasn't fair at all. But Hollywood was checking for Taraji. Hollywood came knocking in order to get that. Now, you want to talk about a high-paid actress when it comes to episodes? Go look up what Angela Bassett is making per episode for the TV series that she's in. But Angela Bassett has the resume. She has the Hollywood silver screen. She has the background and checks all the boxes. Right? Now, one of the things that 50 brought up was, hey, I'm not opposed to going to win another ring with the same team, right? Basically saying that, hey, if this is what is going to be, then let's continue to do it. Now, one of the things that I didn't show you that was in that interview is he also said that Omari's character was supposed to die where 50's character died. Kanan died at. In the original script, they had Ghost dying during that episode. So it would have been cut short a long time ago, but 50 was like, no, let's keep him and extend it. Right? So knowing that fact, I can honestly see that, hey, If the issue is the money, then why not just go to fifth on that? But even if you don't know anything about the situation, here's how you can, and I won't even say validate, but this is just what I'm about to share with you guys is just a testament to how far 50 will go in order to make a situation work. So let's talk about the original deals with Stars. Now, in the beginning, 50 had pitched, and the co-write or the actual, so 50 is a co-creator on Power, and the writer is Courtney Kemp. For you guys who don't know, now they initially pitched Power to HBO, Showtime, Paramount, and Hulu, and they were all turned down after the initial rejection or after the initial proposition. Now, what 50 did was he used his music pitch in order to get in contact with the CEO of Stars, Chris Albert. And, here's the deal that he took. And you can go do your own research on this. And 50 talked about this in an interview. But what Stars did was they paid him $17,000. And it wasn't just for the show, right? This is everything that the $17,000 was supposed to cover. It was $17,000 per episode that they were going to play him. But the $17,000 per episode was for him to play Kanan Stark, to executive produce and compose music for the show. Now, as all of you know, Big Rich Town is a huge part of Power. Like, that's what you want to hear when it comes on, when you hear Joe and 50, on that track. Now, later on, there was some issues because 50 had requested that Trey Songz redo the song. And let me tell you something. The fans were not having it, man. They were so brutal on Trey Songz, man. He was like, hey, it got to go. So much so that 50 had to go back to the original version with Joe. But understand this. Power originally was funded out of 50 Cent's own pocket. 17. If they're only paying you $17,000, you can't even book 50 on stage for $17,000. But they gave him $17,000 per episode to put together an entire series. Now, of course, later on, they inked a deal for about $150 million that was supposed to be over the course of 4 years for the Power series, which is a great deal. $150 million, a lot of money. Now, even though they sold the show to Stars, they still retained some type of creative control over it when it came to writing and licensing of Power itself and its characters, right? So I need people not to be so butthurt behind what 50 was saying as far as he think Omari overvalues himself. $150,000 per episode is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Now, I don't know when he started getting that in Power. And honestly, really don't even matter. But if I had to guess, I would say around season 3, because as 50 stated, after the 3-year mark or the 3 seasons is when you start renegotiating, when you start renegotiating the pay structure. So let's say after 3 years on the show, you ended up getting $150,000 per episode. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money, especially if you're going to the point or coming from the point to where them checks weren't coming like that before. And in order to keep you in pocket, 50 is willing to pay you the money that you're not, or that he's not getting from Stars itself for backing the show, right? So I think that says a lot of how much 50 believes in Omari's ability and talent, and you can't really take that away from him. You know what I'm saying? So, but let's talk about Omari, right? Because he's the topic here. Really, he's the one who, in a roundabout way, his statements are the ones that kind of made this whole snowball effect happen when it came to him. Now, don't get me wrong, Omari Hardwick has been captivating audiences for a long time now, and I'm gonna get into this And I'm gonna be real passionate about it because I think he's a huge talent. Right? So, he's been captivating audiences for a while with his intense performance and his depth as an actor. Today we're going to go through those roles and define his career. And we'll look at how he managed to carve out a unique space for himself in the entertainment industry and all of that, right? So he started out like most actors do, hustling hard, trying to get roles, and sometimes taking smaller parts just to make a name for himself. Now, the first few gigs he had were small, but he made sure to stand out, showing everyone that he was more than ready to be on the big screen. Now, in 2004, he landed a role in Sucker Free City, which was a TV movie directed by Spike Lee. Now, this film kind of set the tone for Omari Hardwick and his in the future, in what we would see other roles him being in, where he played a real gritty, real intense character that showcased his raw talent. Now, but in 2009, he landed a role that really put him on the map. Now, if you haven't seen this, make sure you go check it out. But he starred as Ty Curtis in a former undercover narcotics officer with the more in the television series called Dark Blue. Now, Ty was a conflicted character dealing with a moral complexity for police work. Omari's ability to tap into those inner battles showed that he had a unique talent for bringing conflict characters to life. Now, this was no run-of-the-mill cop show character. Omari's performance had a real edge to it. And this is why I feel like if you like Omari, you should definitely go check this out. And it really made us pay attention to Omari as an actor. And I'll segue into this too, because if you haven't seen Next Day Air where he played Shavu, go back and check that out, because in that character Shavu, or actually in Ghost, you can see remnants of Shavu in that character. Like Next Day Air was probably the first role, because I remember seeing him in Gridiron Gang, but I didn't really take notice of his acting ability until I saw him in Next Day Air. Now, of course, everybody knows him as James St. Patrick, Ghost in Power, but and really that's the character that defined his career. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Power, his character Ghost is a businessman / drug lord, father, husband. You know what I mean? He's just an individual who was walking that thin line between the streets, his past, his dreams, and trying to become a legitimate businessman. Now, this role wasn't just another role for Hart. It became an iconic role in TV history. Ghost was complicated, haunted, charismatic. He was a character, loved and hated to be loved. You know what I mean? Omari's performance brought Power to a whole nother level, helping turn the show into a cultural phenomenon. Now, Ghost's popularity didn't just put Omari Hardwick on Hollywood's radar. It made him a household name by playing Ghost and embodying the duality of a man, both family man and a ruthless businessman. Omari brought humanity to Ghost, making us see both sides of a man who consistently was torn between ambition and loyalty. And this wasn't just acting. It was Omari putting himself into the character role. Now, you can hear him talk about this extensively in that interview or that podcast I was telling you about, The Pivot, when he was questioned by RC and the rest of the hosts. And forgive me, I'm drawing a blank on their names. I just remember RC because he's like one of my favorite guys on their podcast. So Tatum, and he's the other guy, and godly, I'm drawing a blank right now. But yeah, make sure you go check that out. And that's only if you want to find out more information about Omari Hardwick, because I think in that interview is where he really became vulnerable. And I think you can see him expressing himself in that interview, and I can understand both sides of the coin. I understand what 50 is saying, like, hey, and it makes sense. Like I said, once again, if you're a fan of Omari, great. But don't take what 50 said, take your emotions out of what he said, and look at it realistically. If you are entitled to set your value wherever you want to set it at, you have that ability. The value of something is what somebody is willing to pay for. If I tell you this drink is $250 and you think it's worth $250, you'll pay $250. If I tell you this drink is $100 and you think it's worth $100, you'll pay $100. But when it comes to marketing your talent and trying to increase your value, that's a hard. You have to place who you are in the marketplace and market yourself accordingly, right? No doubt, Omari embodied Ghost. No doubt, he embodied that. But find someone else in Hollywood, right, or in TV as well, and do a comparison and see where you fall out. Now, I would definitely say if you're talking about characters along that line, Omari is up here. But how do you translate that to Hollywood, right? If that's where you're looking to go next, or if that's where you're looking to go, whatever direction in as far as a TV series. Now, I don't know what happened in the creative decision in order to take Ghost out. Have no clue. Apparently, it was supposed to happen earlier. It didn't. They extended him. So I think the way the series was written is that he was supposed to go. Now, I don't know. And of course, as fans, we hate to see what we feel is the person who made the show leave, because in my opinion, I stopped watching after Ghost. I just couldn't. I felt like, and I love Joe Fleetwood. I think he's a great actor, but he doesn't carry that same. I don't get the same feeling that I get from Ghost that I get from Tommy. You know what I mean? It's just not the same. Ghost made you feel it. Tommy is high strung, high emotions. He's constantly on 10. He's slick too. I like his character, but I just don't feel him the same way I felt Omari in his role as Ghost. And it's sad to see the show end, man. Well, not see the show end, but see Omari no longer part of Power. And I still say he was the best guy for the job. He was the right fit, perfect fit. And shouts out to him. And I hope wherever he ends up next, he feels valued and he gets what he deserves. But shout out to Omari, shout out to 50, man. I hope they can make amends and come up with something better. Before I forget, I will say this about 50's statement. I really do believe that he didn't say that with the and people can take it however they want to, whether you feel like he was being malicious or he was just giving an honest assessment, which I think it was an honest assessment by the words that he made. This is a business. Regardless of how you feel, this is a business. And obviously, this man has a track record of giving people money, paying them what they're worth. However, you have to understand the business side. 50 no longer owns Power. Stars does. Now, does he have some type of creative input and control? Of course. Courtney does as well. But they don't own it. They only have the ability to create the story. Stars is the one that is going to have to pay these actors after they ink the deal, the 4-year deal. Right? That's how it works. So, good luck to Omari on future endeavors. Shout out to Natari Naughton. Oh man, I hate to see things get like this, man. But that's the scoop right there, man. That's all the information that I have. Make sure you guys continue to check out Joe Fleetwood's podcast, man. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, go to joefleetwood.net where you can find all of my social media links. Get you some of this W Energy drink. I have the link, right? I have the link on that same webpage. Click it. Use Joe Fleetwood promo code. You get 10% off. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And once again, man, thank you guys for tuning in to the Joe Fleetwood podcast. Peace.